welcome to Investors Hangout. This weekly interaction to help you learn and understand savings and investment issues is brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. Now, do you ever wonder what happens to someone's investments after his death? Of course, having a nominee there does help, but that's not a short way to ensure a smooth transfer of your financial assets. So how do you ensure that smooth transfer? Also, have you heard about SEBI's new regulations about mutual fund nominations? Well, even if you haven't, don't worry about it, because today we'll tell you all about it in this episode. So stay tuned.
So if a mutual fund or an insurance company or even a bank, if they are trying to credit some money to an investor's account, but they are unable to do so because the bank account details are wrong, and they are not able to reach out to the investor, even the communication details that they have changed, and the investor is not contactable, and if this remains the status for several years, then technically this money is tagged as unclaimed investor money. And if some money keeps lying as unclaimed for several years, then this money is transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund, the IEPF. This is a fund run by the central government. Different financial products across the board, your insurance products, mutual funds, bank accounts, are supposed to credit the unclaimed investor money to this fund. Now the good thing is that even if some money that belongs to you has been transferred to this fund, and you later figure out that it belongs to you, you can still file a claim to get that money. So you can go to the website of IEPF and you can see the coordinates of this website on your screen right now. You can go to this website, provide some basic details to figure out if there is any money lying unclaimed, which were your own investments, or let's say some money to which you are a legal heir. If you figure out any such money, then you can initiate the process to stake a claim to it. But more broadly, unclaimed money is a big issue. There was a recently published report by the Association of Registered Investment Advisors, which provides some eye-opening numbers. There is literally thousands of crores of money across mutual funds, insurance, even PPF, bank accounts, which has been lying unclaimed. So it is high time that this issue is addressed. So I think this is a great move by SEBI. What it has mandated is that starting August this year, investors will not be allowed to leave the nomination field as blank. Either they will have to provide the details of the nominee while investing, or they would have to manually opt out of it. It would not be allowed to leave that field as blank, which was the situation up till now. So what used to happen often on your older investments was that you could often overlook the nomination field because it was not mandatory, but now that will not be the case. And with this move, chances are that most people will start opting for nomination, and which will greatly help in succession later. And this will apply not just on fresh investments, but even on your existing investments, because SEBI has mandated mutual funds to reach out to all the past investors and complete this exercise by March next year. They'll have to reach out to the investors and ask them to provide the nomination or opt out of it in case the nomination has been left blank. And in case by 31st of March next year, if there are still investments where the nomination is not tagged or the investor has not himself opted out of it, then all such folios will be frozen for redemptions. So overall, I think this is a great move. Things get more tricky in case a nomination is not in place. In such a case, the claimant will need to do a fair bit of documentation. He or she would have to fill and file a transmission form, which is available from the AMC's website, along with the KYC documents, proof of the relationship with the investor, and certain documents like an indemnity bond, a no objection certificate, and an affidavit from every single legal heir where they cede their claim to that money in your favor. So there is a fair bit of documentation required. Now, all of these documents are required if the claim is up to rupees 2 lakhs, but things become even more complex if the claim is of an amount more than 2 lakh, where a succession certificate from a court is also required. So in a nutshell, the broad point is that nomination greatly eases all these processes. Otherwise, there is a fair bit of documentation that a claimant would have to do subsequently. a nominee is not a legal heir but only a custodian of that money. So you can think of it as a very loose form of succession, what you can think of as an Indian jugaad to pass on the legacy, and it is contestable. For instance, if a person has 3 children but he puts only one child's name as the nominee to his investments, then after his death the nominee will get the money, but other 2 can contest and stake a claim to that money. So in that sense, a nominee is not a legal heir. The most robust form of succession is to write a will. So you should take into account the details of all your assets and provide very precise instructions as to what goes to whom after you are not around. And you can visualize different scenarios while writing an elaborate will. For instance, an asset owner might want to pass on his legacy to his spouse upon his demise. But what if both the owner of the asset and the spouse die in an accident together? Then the will can also have a provision to who could be the second line legal heir in case the spouse is not around. So this way, a will can deal with multiple scenarios with very precise instructions on how that money has to be apportioned.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this episode. I'm sure a lot of your doubts have been cleared. Keep watching this space for more information. And if you like the show, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care. Bye for now.